my great love. And when I was working in these long-term care facilities, one of my jobs was, of course, to address everyone who had weight loss. And they would give me my big list of, 40, 50 people who were losing weight. And then they'd give me another list and say, well, can you address all of these people too? These are the people that also have a wound. And so I got very interested in trying to see what we can do to help heal these wounds. And I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. So you must have caught the bug, right?
Yes.
So once you heal one, you want to heal more. I know. I feel.
Well, when we would talk to the CNAs and, the nursing assistants, and I would, as I learned more and more and I started recommending supplements, sometimes they would look at me and they would say, Nancy, are you crazy? This person's overweight. They don't need all of this. Stop giving them more. And, I realized there was this education need about this link between nutrition and wound healing that perhaps not everybody understood. And so I got more and more into it and, of course, still doing it now and still loving it.
Awesome. Now, since you've been doing it so long, is that what kind of led you to the legal side of things? Because I know, like, last time I talked to you, you were telling me you had to read 40,000 pages of something.
Correct. Yes, I do a lot of legal work as well. And unfortunately, a lot of people are suing because of non-healing wounds that perhaps led to an amputation or, something that just got infected and maybe they died of sepsis or something like that. But there's a lot of wrongful death and negligence lawsuits for non-healing wounds, making another reason why it's so critical that we get these wounds healed in a timely fashion with nice, strong tissue that's not going to reopen, that's not going to have dehiscence, that's not, going to cause us trouble. How many times do we see these wounds that are healed and then in a week or two, boom, they're reopened? Sometimes it's because that tissue is not strong enough, and nutrition can help build better, stronger tissue with more tensile strength. Mm-hmm. So it's very important all around.
Do you think, like, when they're assessing a wound, we've taught this for years and we always bring in nutrition, but I think that folks assess the wound, but they always forget about nutrition for some reason. Do you find that in your practice a lot?
Yes. Well, sometimes it is overlooked, and sometimes, here, I'll tell you a good story here. So I was working at, not working, I was speaking. I guess that is working, right? Mm-hmm. At a major wound conference, right? So I had just given my speech on wound healing and, talking about my, typical topics. And I was walking through the aisles of the exhibit hall, and this physician came up to me and he said, "Oh, excuse me, Dr. Collins, I really enjoyed your talk." And I said, "Oh, thank you so much." And he said, "I'm really, really into nutrition." And I was like, "Well, this is great." And so I said to him, I said, "What do you do for, nutrition? Do you have protocols or, what is your plan for nutrition?" Mm-hmm. And he looked at me quite genuine. And he said, "I tell every single patient to eat better." And I thought to myself, okay, well, that's certainly good. And I'm glad you tell them to eat better. But it started me thinking, what exactly does that mean? Here's a physician who obviously recognizes the link between nutrition and wound healing, but he doesn't really know exactly what to tell patients. We talk a lot about the science behind it and the physiology, but somehow we've got to get this down to actual things, that concrete steps that you can tell a patient, well, eat this or do this. But here was a doctor who was trying his best, but I said, well, what else do you tell him? And he said, well, I tell them, make sure they eat. And he was grasping, and I could see he was grasping, which made me feel bad because he wanted to help his patients, but he didn't really know exactly how, in fact, to do that. So that's why, today we have here, this is something that I think most patients would accept. It looks quite attractive, and it is power-packed with amino acids for wound healing. So we'll talk about some of these. My table here, you can't see what's around me, but it's full with things that I'm real excited to show you today.
Okay. You show me.
Okay, well, here, so I'll show you one thing. Yeah. These are just things that through the years I have come to like. Here, so you're probably thinking, what the heck is this, Nancy? Do you know?
Like a popcorn maker?
A what?
Mini popcorn maker?
No, it's not a popcorn maker.
Ooh.
It's an egg cooker.
What? Really?
This is an egg cooker. It's the simplest, best way to make eggs, in my opinion. Now, why eggs? Okay, so a lot of times, again, clinicians that I speak to all the time tell me our patients don't have enough money. They can't be buying 1,000 things. This is especially now in the times we're in, maybe people don't have a lot of money. So what is a way that they can get additional protein for a very low cost? Eggs. Nothing better than an egg. And what are you going to do with eggs? What's going to make it simple? I'm not a morning person. If you know me, mornings are difficult for me. And so I'm not one that's going to get up in the morning and start cooking a lot. But yet you need to eat some protein in the morning. That is one of the keys, and we'll talk about that more in just a moment. So what you can do is have a little egg cooker like this. Here, the cover comes off. This is where you put your eggs. Basically, it's quite simple. You just add a little water to the bottom. It comes with a little measuring cup.
Okay.
You put on the bottom of the measuring cup, there's a little needle here, a very pointy needle. You puncture your egg. You put your eggs in here, you put your lid on, you plug it in, you brush your teeth, walk away. When you come back, your eggs are perfectly hard cooked. This holds 7 eggs. So if you did this once a week, you would have an egg for every day.
Wow. And
an egg is power packed with nutrition. I think we have some details we can show you about the nutrition of an egg. Here you go. Depending on, the size of the egg, if it's a large, extra large egg, anywhere from 6, maybe 7 grams of protein for 15 cents about. Our supermarket here has eggs on sale this week, a dozen eggs for $1.99. You can't get much more inexpensive than that for very complete protein. And I put up here for you the amino acid content of an egg and its PDCAS score. Now, you might be saying, well, now she's getting away from me. What does all that mean? Basically, all protein is scored. And on the one of the scales, there's different ways of scoring protein, but one is called the Protein Digestibility Corrected Amino Acid Score, or PDCAS for short. And the egg gets the highest rating. That means it has all of the amino acids that you need in the right numbers in order to be a power-packed protein.
Huh. Wow. That's interesting. I had to take, and I don't know if you guys did it out there on Facebook Live, I had to take a picture of it because I thought that was a nice cheat sheet there to have handy.
So if you make your eggs in your little egg cooker once a week, you have them, you just peel them, put them in a storage container, and you have it for the entire week. Ready to go.
I think that's great. I think patients can do that. It's simple. It's easy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very easy way to get some additional protein. For inexpensive cost, not a lot of work, and easy to snack on. The other thing that we have to deal with is patients who just don't have a big appetite and don't feel like eating too much.
Yeah.
An egg is pretty simple to eat. And if you paired that egg with, a little piece of cheese, I particularly like, the little round cheeses. Those are another 5 grams of protein. So you can have 13 grams of protein in really a very small quantity of food as well.
That's nice. Oh, you mentioned amino acids earlier. Amino acids, protein. Sometimes clinicians get that messed up. Is there any way to kind of keep it straight in our head?
Right. Yeah, that is a good question that I get asked quite a bit. What's the difference between amino acids and protein, and are they the same thing? So right now, when I was talking about eggs, I was talking about a whole protein, which is important. In wound healing, protein needs are elevated. Now, if you've ever heard me talk at WOW or any of these other meetings, you've definitely heard me talk about the fact that when your body is under stress, it mishandles some of the nutritional substrate. And we know that through a lot of the literature that's out there. And it turns out that the part of the macronutrient that it mishandles the most is protein. And so sometimes you might have heard me refer to this as like a defect in the nutrient partitioning. And the defect is in the protein partition. So what we have to do to compensate for that is give patients additional protein. So in that sense, when I'm talking about protein, I'm talking about eggs and meat and chicken, whole protein, those type of things. Now, when we start talking about amino acids are the building blocks of protein, okay? That's what protein is made up of, chains of amino acids.
Okay.
Nancy, do you know how many amino acids there are in total? How many are there? Do you have any idea?
Oh, no. No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm sure a lot of people do not, but there are 20. There's 20 different amino acids.
Okay.
Okay. 9 of those 20 you have to get from food, from some sort of an exogenous source. Your body has no other way to get 9 of these. And those would be called, some people call them the essential amino acids. Some people call them the indispensable amino acids, but those 9 you need from food. So that's why you have to eat your chicken, your beef, your poultry, your eggs, your foods. And if you're a vegan, of course, you can get some vegan proteins or vegetarian proteins. Okay, so then once you consume these, your body digests it. That's what happens, of course. And the process of digestion is breaking down these proteins into the component amino acids. And then your body will reassemble them, depending on what it needs, into the 11 others. Okay, so those are called conditional or non-essential, because your body is always manufacturing those itself. So of these 20 amino acids, what we know, again, from, people have spent their lives researching how do we build new tissue to heal a wound. And one of the things that they have found out is that some of the key reactions that need to take place in order to heal involve various amino acids. And 2 that are often linked with wound healing are arginine and glutamine. And those are 2 that your body can manufacture every day. You're making your own supply of arginine and glutamine. But again, from the research that's out there, what we know, I'll give you an example here for arginine.
Okay.
How much arginine, you got any idea of how much you might take in a day just from eating a regular diet? How many grams?
Is there any arginine in this?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I'm not getting any.
I don't think so. In her cocktail. Well, normally we take in about 5 to 7 grams a day.
5 to
right?
7. Okay.
Right. But your body manufactures another 15 to 20 grams.
Okay.
However, when your body is under stress, let's say you have hypertension and you've got diabetes and maybe you had a stroke and you got this non-healing wound going on and you've got all these different things going on. When your body is under stress, it affects your hormonal milieu. Catecholamines, cortisol go up, those type of things. And in those conditions, your body is not producing 15 to 20 grams of arginine. The research shows that that is downregulated to about 1/3 of normal. Okay? And at the same time, the breakdown of arginine by something called arginase, which is what breaks down arginine, is upregulated about 4 times. So what am I saying? What does all of this nonsense mean? You're thinking to yourself, you're making a lot less and you're breaking down a lot more. So that gives you a deficiency state. And if you run out of arginine, you cannot heal a wound. It's as simple as that. We know that arginine is needed for nitric oxide synthesis. Okay, so now when you have nitric oxide, that is something that brings blood flow, vasodilation to the newly built tissue. So if we want that newly built tissue to remain viable, obviously we have to oxygenate it, we have to bring nutrients into it, and arginine is one of the things that gives rise to nitric oxide, which does those exact things. So it all makes sense, right? So you don't want to run out of arginine. And especially if you have a patient that's not eating well, they're sick, they don't feel like they don't want to cook, they don't want to shop, they're in maybe a long-term care facility and don't eat too much, they're probably going to not have enough arginine. So we supplement that. I can give someone an arginine supplement and make up that difference, so that they doesn't become the rate limiting factor in the equation that you need to give rise to nitric oxide. And it's a similar situation with glutamine. Glutamine is the most abundant amino acid in the body. You have more of that than anything. But you also are using a lot of it every day, and you're breaking down a lot of it every day. You're burning through glutamine at an increased rate. And you don't want to run out of that, because glutamine helps give rise to collagen. How are you going to heal a wound? You've got to have some collagen. So what do you do about all of this? Now, this is, it's, to me, I like talking about the science. But again, when I think back to that doctor who wants to tell his patients, what should I do? You can't just tell someone, oh, well, eat better. Yes, that's a start, but you got to give them some concrete recommendations. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I recommend is some amino acid supplements. If someone's been losing weight over time, maybe they have a downward weight trend and their appetite isn't up to snuff, and they've got this wound that is lingering. The other thing that I notice, I'm sure for all the wound care rockers that are listening today, I see them a lot of times writing on the board, I'm doing this, this, and this, and I'm not getting the results. Yeah. Does anyone have any other ideas of what I can do? Do you see that too, Nancy?
Yeah, I just, after listening to you, I just give me a pill, give me something I can drink or a shot or something, because now that you've explained that, I think I need some arginine. I really do.
You very well right. So yeah, they're doing what they've been taught topically to, the outside of the body, to the wound, but yet they're not getting the results. And sometimes I really do honestly believe that you're not getting the results that you want, because no matter what you do, if you don't have the nutritional substrate to build new tissue, how are you going to heal a wound? Yeah. You simply can't. Yeah. So sometimes it's maybe that you're lacking the nutrition. So you have to have some concrete interventions there. So I can tell you one of the things that I like to do. A lot of people say to me, well, how do I supplement amino acids? Is it a pill you buy? Where do I get it? How do I do it? How much do you need? How much does it cost? What do you do with it? So if we go back to my cocktail here, this was a nice amino acid drink that I made up before we came out here. Now, no supplement, nothing is going to do any good if someone will not consume it. Okay? And I don't want you wasting your money on things that people are not going to consume. Mm-hmm. This is a mixture. I will tell you exactly what is in my glass here.
I'm going to write it down.
Well, it's very simple. It's not very complicated.
Oh, okay.
Because, again, I'm not that interested in making things complicated, because then people don't do it.
True.
What's in here is 1 packet of unflavored Juven, and we'll talk about Juven in case you don't know what that is, some strawberries, and some almond milk. And it makes a very nice smoothie. That's all that's in here, in a blender and a little bit of ice. And it tastes fine.
Wow.
Tastes delicious. There's nothing wrong with this. I cannot, people think, oh, well, this is not going to be good. It's perfectly good.
That's nice. Then that's pretty easy.
Right. It's just, and it's not, I don't even really know how much. Just a little bit of almond milk, a bunch of strawberries I cut up, the packet of Juven, and this is what it looks like. This is what I put in there. This is a packet of unflavored Juven.
Unflavored. Okay.
Yeah. Can be added to a smoothie. It could be added to mashed potatoes and applesauce, macaroni and cheese, whatever, food. This is meant to be added to something else. And now, you don't know, people are probably saying, well, what is this Juven at all? This is a blend of amino acids, and I think we have some information that will show you the nutritional content of 1 packet. It is a blend of arginine, glutamine, and something called HMB, which stands for hydroxymethylbutyrate.
Okay.
Okay, those are the key amino acids that you need for many of the functions that need to occur in wound healing.
Okay.
HMB is something that's used very frequently in the exercise world to protect muscle from damage. And in our patients who are ill, we don't want them losing their lean tissues. If someone's losing weight and losing their lean tissues, that would mean they're in a negative state. In order to be in a catabolic state, maybe a negative nitrogen balance. You want someone to be in a positive nitrogen balance, in an anabolic state, in order to build new tissue to heal a wound. So, and then in addition to that, of course, there's some protein, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin E, and B12. So some of the key micronutrients that you need, again, as either cofactors or catalysts in various reactions that need to go on. So that's what's actually in Juven. Now let me show you this. Here. Okay, this is, let me put my lid on. This is a box of Juven. In this box, there are 30 packets. I would recommend that someone try to have 2 packets a day. So 30 packets would be enough. This box would be enough for 2 weeks. Where can you buy this box? You can buy it on Amazon and other drugstores. You can buy it, you know, on the internet, of course. But now let me show you. So maybe you don't want to make a smoothie. Let me show you something else here. Okay, I got another little appliance here that I want to show you. Let me get this out.
Shall we
for you. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Oh, what is that?
This is a cordless blender.
Oh, that's
okay. I brought the cord just to show you. It has a USB end.
Okay.
So you can plug this into your computer. You can leave the cord home, and once it's charged, it will last for a while. So if, let's say that you know, just don't, this is not very expensive. Of course, this has less power than, let's say, my Vitamix does, but, you know, just like your cell phone has less power than your computer, your laptop, you still like your phone. This is good for making something small. And let's say you're visiting someone in a nursing home or something, you can easily mix this up. What Juven comes as a powder. Okay, so here I have a fruit punch. It comes in orange and fruit punch. So what I'm going to do here, I mean, and again, I'll just show you how simple this is because I'm going to do it right for you live. Okay. This is an 8-ounce bottle of water. I mean, I'm in my office here in my own home. This is what I keep at home is 8-ounce bottles of water because I like to keep track of how much water I drink. I'm just going to pour the entire bottle in the little portable blender. Okay, that did not take much. This, just ripping the packet open. I mean, you don't need scissors. You don't need anything special. It just opens very rapidly. And I'm just going to pour the powder in the blender.
There we go.
Okay, I mean, this was not, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to do this. I'm going to just put the lid on. Now, since it is a powder, I mean, it wasn't a huge quantity of powder. You can see it's already starting to blend itself, the color. And then I'm just going to press the button. And it's blending. I don't know, I'll give it 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Just blending, blending, blending. There's no cords. This is not very heavy. You can take this. You don't, I mean, it's done. This is how you make Juven. Now, if you don't have a blender, what can you do? You can put it in any sort of bottle with a lid and shake it up. But sometimes the nurses, now the reason that I wanted to show you this is because I'm all about shortcuts here and making this practical and easy. If you're working in a nursing home and you're the med cart nurse and you're driving your med cart around and you have people who are on Juven, a lot of times the nurses tell me, well, they don't have time to open this up and shake it and shake it and shake it and shake it. If you have a little portable blender, you don't even need to shake it. It's very easy. I mean, and then you can drink it right out of here, or I mean, you can just pour it in, you know, a glass. I mean, and you know, that's really all there is to this. I mean, so this is traditional Juven. You can just mix it with water. I mean, and sometimes when I ask people to taste this, they're like, you know, oh my God, I don't want to drink this. I don't want to drink this. So I mean, I'll taste it for you. It's quite delicious. I mean, this isn't highly caloric. This is not for people who are losing massive amounts of weight. It's not the equivalent. Sure. On our slide, depending on the flavor, you know, about 80 calories, 90 calories. But it is power packed with the right amount of amino acids that you need for wound healing. Yeah. So that you don't run out of arginine, you don't run out of glutamine, and it has then those additional micronutrients to ensure that you have those on board, because a lot of these reactions require those. So for instance, like vitamin C, you need vitamin C for the hydroxylation of proline to hydroxyproline and lysine to hydroxylysine. Now that probably means nothing to lay people. If you're in wound healing, you realize that's a very key reaction and you need vitamin C as the cofactor. So it's a one-stop shop. There's a little vitamin C in here. So you can easily just mix this with water. You don't want to use water, you can use a 7-Up or a Sprite and make it kind of fizzy. You could add, I could have added some ice and made it into more of a smoothie. I could have mixed it with some apple juice. I mean, it's really all up to what you want to do. So I want to show you, let's make something a little more complicated. Are you having fun, Nancy?
I'm having fun. I have one question though.
Sure.
Can you freeze it at all? Like, can you make like little popsicles or put them in?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can even mix it with ice cream. Yeah, you can make ice cubes out of it. Here, I've got another blender for you. This one's green. Do you like this green one or you like the pink one better?
If I had to choose, I'd go with pink.
I knew you would go with pink. Okay, let's make something a little bit more complicated here. Okay, again, this is not that complicated.
Where can I buy that thing? You know, that blender thing that you've got?
Well, this particular brand is called Blend Jet. Okay. And I'm sure they must have a website. I would guess it would probably be blendjet.com, but I don't have any connection to this blender. I just like it. Okay, so what do I have here? I have, again, my little container of almond milk.
Yep.
And I know that there's about 4 ounces left in here because I've already used this.
Okay.
So I'm putting 4 ounces of almond milk in my little blender. And let's see here. And some sliced bananas. Okay, these are just banana slices, nothing particularly special about this banana slice. Okay, now I got bananas on my hands. Let me wipe my hands. And here, this is a packet of orange flavored Juven.
Oh, they come in different flavors.
Orange and fruit punch and unflavored. Those are the 3 flavors. Okay, now I'm just adding in my packet of orange and I will put my lid on. And let's blend this for a little bit. You can see it's turning a nice orange color as the bananas and the orange mix up. And so I'm sure, you know, obviously everyone has been to that place in the mall that makes orange drinks. This is going to taste very similar to that. And then to this one, though, because I do want it a little bit more frosty, I'm going to stop it and open it back up now that I blend it a little bit. And I'm going to add some ice cubes. I have a little dish of ice here. I don't know, just a little dish of ice just to give it a little crunch. Right. And then you will see that we will make this into like a little frosty drink. You can see the ice cubes in here. Let me hit the button. Yep. You can hear that grinding up the ice without any trouble. And this you could turn upside down if an ice cube gets stuck to make sure you get it all. So handy dandy little thing. I feel like I should be on some TV infomercial or something, Nancy. This is your handy dandy little Juven maker. And then here I've got an empty cup. This is now, you can see this is much thicker consistency, a nice smoothie. And since this was orange flavored, I got a nice little orange wedge here. And I had a little straw, but I don't see my little straw. So I will use my same straw. And here you go. Okay, so that wasn't very complicated.
No.
And now you've got the additional calories and nutrients of the banana in here. You've got some ice, so this will stay for a while if you want to sip it. Let's see how it tastes. Okay, seriously, that's delicious.
Let me try.
Saying this is delicious. This is delicious. It's refreshing. It's cold. It's a little tart, a little sweet. From the almond milk, that was vanilla almond milk that I used, so it's a little sweet. Very good. So, these are practical ways that you can encourage somebody to get amino acids.
That's awesome.
And they're keys. So, it's kind of fun, right?
It is. I think patients can do that pretty easy. Make it much easy.
Right. And again, you don't really have to do anything fancy. You can just go back to, mixing it with water. If that's all you've got, water will do. Fine. It tastes perfectly fine in water. What people typically tell me is that the orange tastes like an orange crush type of flavor when mixed with water, and that the fruit punch mixed with water tastes like Starburst.
Okay.
So, they're certainly not offensive taste at all, quite delicious, especially, and everyone's an individual. I like my things really cold, so I add ice. Some people like it more at room temperature, however someone likes it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's certainly one way to get the right amount of amino acids, the right amount of micronutrients that you need for wound healing, in an easy to do system. So again, Juven comes in orange, fruit punch, and then the unflavored, which is meant to mix in with other things, not a beverage per se, unless a smoothie like I did. You can mix it with some food. So if someone doesn't want to drink all of this liquid, maybe they're on a fluid restriction or have heart failure, you can simply mix in the amino acids with their foods.
Okay. All right. Directly into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, these are simple things: eggs, smoothies, amino acid supplements, little gadgets you can buy to help you and save you time. And these are not expensive. This egg cooker was $16.99. I bought it myself. The blender, again, I don't have any connection to these things. The blender, I can tell you honestly, I bought on QVC and it was $39.99.
Oh, that's affordable for any. Yeah, that's good.
It's not supersonic, but even if how many people make protein shakes for themselves, just, for breakfast? If you're going on vacation, a lot of times you think, well, how am I going to make my shake? You can throw this little blender in your suitcase and you can make it in your room.
Absolutely. So is that why you got into Juven, because it just has everything you need?
No.
How did you discover it?
That's a good question that you bring up. Well, why am I so enthusiastic about Juven? Let's talk about that for a minute. Okay. It's hard to talk about. My father, who I had the best, Nancy, I'm telling you, I had the best father in the world. Okay, and my father got very ill. We're going back, over 10 years now. Yeah. And what he had, I'll tell you particularly what had happened to him. He was working, everything was okay, but he started not feeling that well. And to make a long story short, he got some imaging and everything, and it showed that he had a very large AAA, an abdominal aortic aneurysm. And they said they had given my parents the choice that either he needed immediate surgery or it might blow, in which case he would be instantaneously dead. So of course they opted for surgery. And back in that time when he had the surgery, they do it different now. Now it's much smaller incisions. We've come a long way with surgery. At the time when he had the surgery, it was a very, very, very large incision.
Yeah.
And so he had this surgical wound that just simply would not heal. They were trying to heal it, and it just was not making any progress. And I'm talking about that this went on for several months and with no progress, and me trying to manage this situation with my mom. And the nurses, I'm sure, did not like me. I kept telling them, well, what are you doing for this? Why won't it heal? Yeah. And, I was not that, experienced at that point. We're going back quite a few years now. And so I remembered when I was at one of my nutrition meetings, I had seen this booth in the exhibit hall for something called Juven. And I thought, what was that thing? I didn't really even remember it. I was like, what is that thing that I saw? Let me see if I can find that out. So I started doing some research, and I thought, okay, we'll try this. We had tried everything else and nothing worked. So I thought, well, let's try this. So I asked the nurse there, I said, can we try? I printed some stuff out, and I said, can we try this? And she said, oh, no, we don't have that here. And I said, well, we've tried everything you do have here. Let's try something else. And she said, well, we don't have that. And she kind of dismissed me, and I kind of got mad, and it turned into a whole big thing. And so I went and I bought it myself, and I came in the next day, with my whole supply. And I said, well, we're going to try this. And my father at that time was on a tube feeding. And she was like, no, we don't know how to do this and put this in this tube feeding. How are you going to get this into him? And I showed them how, yes, you can easily use this in a tube feeding. We'll mix it. We'll put it in, as the flush, and everything's going to be okay. And they were, I don't know, I don't think they liked me very much, to tell you the truth. But I really didn't care because it was my dad.
Sure.
And we did it. To make a long story short, well, now this story is really getting pretty long. I don't know if I can make it short at this point. But so we did it, and his wound healed. Okay. And those same nurses, that DON, came back to me a couple of weeks later when she saw the progress, and she was like, what was that you did? Show me that stuff you have. What is that called? What was in that? Where'd you get this? Maybe we should use this some more. And I mean, but just personally, I was like so impressed with how it worked that I thought, well, maybe she was like, how does it work? And at that point, I really didn't know how it worked. So I thought, well, I better figure out exactly how this works, and maybe I'm on to something here and I can tell some other people. And so I started doing some research into it and learning a lot more about amino acid function and, how you build new tissue and why it does work. And I've used it since then, literally in, hundreds, if not thousands of times. And the vast majority of the people, can I say it's been, 100% no. There's some people that have overwhelming medical problems that I can't cure with nutrition, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's worked in a lot of people, and a lot of people have prevented amputations and healed things that I thought to myself, good Lord, how are we going to heal this? It's huge. I had a lady that, wasn't even old or sick in any way. She fell off a boat and her leg got caught in the propeller.
Oh.
And it almost cut her leg off. Her leg was like dangling by a thread. Oh. And I thought to myself, how are we going to heal this? And so I started her right away on not only Juven, but on extra calories and even extra protein, which we can talk about next. And she healed remarkably. So your body's innate ability to heal is there. I strongly believe that, unless, of course, you're end stage. Sure. If you're in palliative care or you're in hospice, obviously those are different types of situations. But a lot of people, your innate ability to heal is there. But we have to give the body the components that it needs. And it needs a lot of these amino acids.
Well, that's good to know.
That's the story. That's how I got into Juven.
Huh. Well, you've got, personal experience. So, yeah, that's awesome. Now, if I had a patient that just needed a little extra protein, is there any little secret, any tip that I can just kind of do?
Well, yes, certainly. Okay. Eggs and getting them to eat. I like food, and I think we should start always with food first. But there are other things that we can do. So let me see here. Let me look at my little table and see what we've got here. Okay, so here I've got something else to show you. Look at this drink. This is a blue drink. And this one I got a spoon in. Okay, I'll give you a guess of what's in here. You'll never guess. So maybe I should save time and just tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
This is blueberries. This is what giving it its blueberry color. Oatmeal.
Oh.
almond milk, and collagen peptides.
Oh, collagen.
So now you're saying collagen peptides. Well, that's something we haven't mentioned yet before, but collagen is very important. If you noticed, even in Juven, there was some hydrolyzed collagen in it. Now, why would there be? And again, this is very delicious. There's nothing wrong with this. It's nice and frosty. This is really good. Okay, and it's power packed with collagen in there.
Well, that's good.
Now, collagen. Let's talk about collagen for a minute. There are many different types of collagen. Now, and depending on what source you read, I mean, I've seen that there's 30 types. I've even seen one source say there's 50 types, but I have a little list here for you of the most common types of collagen. You can see types 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, sometimes 10, and they all have different functions, these types of collagen. Type 1 is very closely related to hair, skin, and nails. I'm sure if you go on Facebook, you've seen these ads for all different types of collagen products. They want everybody to take collagen. Of course, they're trying to sell you collagen for improving your hair, skin, and nails. But collagen has a big role in wound healing because you can't heal a wound unless you build collagen. So that's why, even like I say, Juven is enhanced with some hydrolyzed collagen.
Okay.
So you saw the smoothie. So make sure if you're going to take a collagen supplement that you know what types of collagen are in here. So, and again, there's many types out there. This just happens to be what I had in my cabinet. This is just a bag of collagen peptides. And you can see what's on here. This is very easy to dissolve. So what would you do with something like this? You think to yourself, how am I going to eat this entire bag of powder? So here, let me just get something for you here. Okay, so here I have just a bowl of oatmeal.
Okay.
It's just a bowl of regular, ordinary oatmeal. Nothing wrong with it. Little blueberries, collagen peptide. Comes with a scoop. Take your scoop. You can just pour it right in your oatmeal. No big deal. Stir it up. It's already dissolving. That kind said on the bag, quick dissolving. It's already dissolved. Add some of your blueberries in.
Okay.
And again, I mean, now you have oatmeal that's been power packed. I mean, and does this taste any different with the collagen in it?
Yeah, does it? That's what I'm wondering. Is there an aftertaste?
No, I can't even detect it, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I mean, and that's in all honesty. I can't even detect it in here.
Okay.
Is that the only kind? No. I mean, I also, again, I mean, in full disclosure here, why do I have so many things just in my cabinets at home? I get a lot of free samples because this is the line of work I'm in.
Yeah.
Here's another one. This is, just another type of collagen. And you can see right on the label here, it says types 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10. So this is a blend of various types of collagen. And, just a similar thing. It's just a big thing of powder. You can also get a liquid protein. Plenty of companies make bottles, jugs of a liquid protein. Yeah. And those I wouldn't necessarily mix in food. Those would usually be like a 1 ounce serving that you would drink, more like a cough syrup type thing. Okay. Those probably, depending again on the brand, it's an easy way to get a lot of protein in just a small volume. But sometimes patients don't like how those taste. But again, 1 ounce, it's not that hard to consume 1 ounce. But if you have the powder, you can mix it in. I mean, there's a wide variety of things available. You just have to kind of make the effort to find what that particular patient likes. Yeah. Not everybody likes the same thing. Mm-hmm. Some people, and it's always interesting when I ask people who have used Juven, which is your favorite flavor, orange or fruit punch? Yeah. A lot of people tell me fruit punch. But if you ask me personally, I prefer the orange, but to each his own. If you like fruit punch, enjoy the fruit punch. I personally like, if you give me my choice, I'll pick the orange. I like the orange. So some people like sweet, some people like bananas, some people like blueberries, some people want something sweeter. You can take a lot of these things and you can add it to ice cream if someone only wants sweets. But then there's other people that I meet that don't want sweets. They don't like that sweet flavor. So, you've got to make the effort to find the right product for the right patient at the right time. Mm-hmm. But the key being that you have to find something, so you were talking about this case that I was working on.
Yeah.
I can't, tell you all the details because it's ongoing, but I can tell you that this patient lost over 50 pounds and of course had this non-healing wound. How in the world, please explain to me, how in the world is anybody going to heal a wound, build new tissue, an anabolic process if they have lost 50 pounds and are continuing to lose weight?
I don't know how they're going to do it.
They can't. No. It's just not going to happen. So you've got to find something that's going to address some of these issues. And, to me, that involves, when I do this type of work, I read a lot of charts. Mm-hmm. And I see that we're very, very good at notating down, patient losing weight, family notified, doctor notified. But to me, you've got to go a little further. You've got to look for that root cause. Why is somebody losing that weight?
Yeah.
You've got to dig deep and see why, because you don't know how to address it unless you know why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There can be a million reasons why someone's losing weight. Maybe their dentures hurt.
Are not working. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It keeps looking out of their mouth.
Depressed. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a psychological problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe they're in a lot of pain. These wounds, there's this myth going around that these wounds don't hurt. They hurt. I hear people getting dressing changes and it hurts.
Yeah.
Mm. Maybe they're in a lot of pain and that's, affecting them. There can be a lot of different reasons and you've got to address the underlying cause to figure out how to treat these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Nancy, can you take a question from the audience real quick?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
So this is coming from Kimberly and she asked this a while, but she said, could you mix the unflavored with the single serving applesauce?
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
Applesauce? Yeah. So one packet to one serving of applesauce?
And I've done that before. The single serving applesauce is a small portion, of course. And I'm sure probably what Kimberly is really asking is, will all that powder go into that much applesauce, which is not very much in a single serving. And it will, I don't like to mislead you at all. It's going to, bulk up the applesauce a little because it is quite a bit of powder in a single serving, but you can always use a half of a packet in a single serving and then use the half in something else.
Okay.
You just have to, I would just add it and stir it until you think it's too much.
Yeah, and that was her second part of the question. She said, when mixed with food, small single serving size would work and not change the texture of the food, but it will change the texture of the food a little bit.
Well, yeah, sure, a little bit because we're adding powder, but I do actually like it mixed with applesauce. That is a good mix to mix it with, but a single serving applesauce, of course, is very small. There's not that much in those little individual cups.
Yeah. Is there any other questions, let's see, that we have from the audience? This is probably the best time as we wind down our event tonight.
Wrapping up now.
Anybody else have any questions? As they're thinking about it, I'll ask you a question.
Sure.
Would you be willing to come back and talk about some legal things? Just, let's talk legal nutrition because,
sure, absolutely.
As I'm hearing you talk, I'll be honest with you, you look at some of these conventions and stuff, a lot of people don't talk nutrition. We talk about every single thing we've got to do to this wound, but we're not talking about nutrition. And if they don't have that covered, that wound's not going to heal. And we really have to drive that home, and like you said, there's all these legal cases that are coming out. People are forgetting the nutrition component. And I think this is very valuable. We need this information.
Yeah, and sometimes that nutrition is that missing piece of the puzzle. you could, like I say, be doing everything properly topically to that wound. And if you're not getting the results that you think you expect, I mean, you have to maybe look at nutrition and see what's going on. It's, I mean, again, I just can't stress it enough. Wound healing, by its very definition, if you ask someone, what's the definition of wound healing? Build new tissue. What's the definition of building? Anabolism. If someone's losing weight, that's a catabolic process. And the problem when your patients are losing weight is not that they're losing fat, they're losing lean muscle mass.
Yeah.
And that is detrimental to health. So see, next time, if we had more time, I could show you my fancy scale that measures not only weight, but measures body composition. There are plenty of ways that you can show this quantitatively using a scale that's enhanced with bioelectric impedance analysis. And that shows your exact body composition.
Oh, boy. There was another question that came from the audience, and this is from Tammy. And she's asking, how frequently should we be offering the Juven to our patients?
Juven, I would recommend twice a day, 2 packets a day. 2 packets a day would give you 14 grams of arginine and 14 grams of glutamine, which is where we would like it to be. So twice a day. But I had someone wrote me just yesterday, and I just answered them last night. So it's at top of mind because I did it like at 2 o'clock in the morning last night, writing a patient back, and they wanted to know they had renal disease. And
well, that was my next question.
Right. Would it be okay? Yes. Yeah. Since it's not whole protein, you can figure out the nitrogen content and certainly work that in. But they were asking, would it be okay if they had just 1 packet a day? Sure, if you have renal disease and you want to go cautiously, start off with 1 packet a day and see the impact. But ideally 2 packets a day. And then sometimes people ask me the converse. My patient is very, very obese, 300 pounds, 350 pounds. Should I give 3 packets a day because of that? Okay. And I would answer that no. I don't think that that's necessary, and the body can only use so much in a day. So I would stick with 2 packets a day.
Okay. And then we have another one from the audience, and this is again from Kimberly. What are your thoughts? And I know this is hot. This is hot because everyone's asked this to me as well. What are your thoughts on prealbumin levels? What labs as dietary would you like to see? What dietary labs would you like to see? What are your thoughts on prealbumin levels? Okay.
Prealbumin is synthesized by the liver. It's in the class of what we would call hepatic proteins.
Okay.
When I first started out, like I can tell you, when my father was in that facility and I was trying to get his wound healed, I was looking at his prealbumin level all the time because that's what we did a decade ago. We don't do that so much anymore because as we've learned more about the inflammatory state, what we've learned is that the whole class of hepatic proteins, prealbumin and albumin, as well as a few other hepatic proteins, are greatly affected by inflammation. And so they're more reflective of somebody's morbidity and mortality than it is of their nutritional status. So we don't really look at that as a key indicator anymore. So the question is, well, what should we look at? That's always what people ask me. Okay, I can accept maybe albumin's gone out of style. What do we look at instead? Unfortunately, there is not one particular lab that's going to, give you what someone's nutritional status is. It's a more full-bodied approach that we have found is what works and what you have to do. You have to really look at somebody from head to toe, and there's plenty of signs of malnutrition that you can look for and signs of vitamin deficiencies. You just have to really become a little bit more skilled at a nutrition-focused physical exam. Everybody gets a physical exam, but it has to be with this focus on nutrition. Rather than one magic lab that's going to say, okay, this person is malnourished or not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and in the new guidelines, guys, just a reminder is that on admission, we need to be screening our patients nutritionally. Okay. And anybody that's on the healthcare team can do that. And we do a nutritional screening, and then that will go to the RD registered dietitian, where they do a further look-see and more of a comprehensive look. So we kind of start that whole thing process. So that's good. One other just quick, you can use Juven for diabetics. Is that right?
Oh, yes, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
no,
That's what I thought. I thought we answered that, but I just want to make sure.
yeah, because especially for diabetic foot ulcers, there's, the body of research out there connecting Juven to healing of diabetic foot ulcers is growing all the time. So if you have a diabetic foot ulcer, I mean, if your choice is possibly get your foot amputated or try some amino acids, I think you should at least try the amino acids.
Give me the amino acids. Yes, load it up. Nancy, the hour just went by. It just flew by. It just went so fast. I really enjoyed having happy hour with you this evening. I have learned so much. Raise the glass. Cheers. Toast to you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today at Wound Care Gurus. And stay in tune. We'll let you know when Nancy Collins comes back. And this is her contact information. So you might want to take a snapshot of that. Nancy, any last words?
I just want to remind you that nutrition isn't a fad. Don't fall for the fads. It is, in fact, a science. And there's a lot of research to back up everything we spoke about today. And if you need more of that research, feel free to contact me. And, I hope everybody has a wonderful day and stays safe in our new world here. And we'll go out there and continue healing.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Peace, love, and wound care to you. Take care. Have a good evening. Are we not live?